Hello students, let's read the problem. And it says, the graph below shows the relationship between the amount of money a worker earns and the number of hours worked per week. What is the slope that represents this situation? Okay, so one of the things that it might help us is to write some labels here, right? For example, it says the amount of money. So who's in my graph? Where do I see amount of money? Yes, it will be the Y, right? What else is in my problem here? Well, now we're talking about the week. How many hours he works per week. So the hours are right on X. Okay, so that's my X right there. So now I want you to look at the points that are given to you. I do see a point right here, and I'm gonna like point it for you. That point is 30 and 250. So I'm gonna write it down here. 30 and 250. Now what does that mean? Well, it means that if he works 30 hours, he will get $250. Or if he worked already the 30 hours, that's how much money he gets. What about the other point that is up here? What does that point mean? Well, it means that if he works 50 hours, he will get $400. Is that right? So now this information is about how many hours he worked and the amount of money that he earns. But that's not what the question is asking me to find. The question says, find the slope. Is that correct? I want to find the slope for this situation. So finding the slope means what is the rate of change? And I'm going to write it down over here, rate of change. So what I want you to do is there's at least two ways that I can find it. One, it will be to find by using rise over run, which means I'm going to look at the graph and I'm going to find the rise and the run. So before I can do the rise and the run, please double check on your X and your Y intervals. For example, Y, if you notice, it goes 50, 100, 150. So it's going by 50s. Now the X is going by 5s, right? Because it has 30, 35. So be careful with that when you're counting. Okay, so let me go ahead and start. So we're going to go up because I'm trying to reach the 50 and 400 coordinates, right? So I'm gonna go, that's 50, one more square is 100, one more square gives me 150 up. Very good. Okay, now I want to go to the right because I want to reach that point, and again I'm going to be counting by 5s. So that's 5, 10, 15, and 20 to the right. So let's write down my number. So this means that if I want to find my rise over run, I got 150 over 20. And we'll talk about simplifying in a minute. So one of the things that you might want to consider is checking that 150 over 20 actually works. And what do I mean by that? It means that instead of going up 150, I'm going to go down. Because now I want to see if I do the opposite, do I really reach another point on the line? So I'm going to go opposite of what I wrote on the top. So instead of going 150 up, I'm going to go 150 down. So this is 50, 100, 150, right? And then instead of going to the right, I'm going to go to the left, 20. So this is 5, 10, 15, and 20. So notice how the point that I found, it is on the line. Very good. So one of the things that you need to consider is doing that. If you found already the rise over the run, check another point to see if you can find more points on the line. So what I need to do next, I need to simplify. So think about 0 and 0 on the numerator and denominator. I can cross it out. It's like if I divided both of them by 10. Next, I am going to simplify 15 over 2, and that will give me 7.5 or 7.50. Very good. Now, go back and think. The rise is going up and down, which is Y, and that is money. And 20 is going side to side, which is hours. So if I want to rewrite my answer, I can rewrite it with a denominator of 1. And now, hopefully this makes more sense, right? This means $7.50 for 1 hour. Okay? So what we want to do next is I'm actually going to find the slope by using the slope of a line. Okay? So what I need to do is I'm going to use the formula that says m, where m is a slope, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x of 2 minus x of 1. I need to write down my 2 points. So I'm going to choose 50 and 400. And the second point, it's 30 and 250. Let's write the labels. This is x of 1, y sub 1, x of 2, y sub 2. Circle this. And let's replace my values. Y sub 2 is 250 minus 400. And x of 2, it's 30 minus 50. Now remember, it doesn't really matter which point are you going to choose as being the first one, because that will go back to the way that I went to the opposite direction. Instead of going up, I went down. So 250 minus 400, it is going to be a negative number. It's okay, don't panic. Hold on. What's 30 minus 50? Another negative number. And I know what you're thinking, Miss, that's not the same answer. Well, remember that a negative divided by a negative is actually a positive. So this is what I actually have. And now I want you to look at that answer. And I want you to look at the one that I found when I did rise over run. What do you notice? It's exactly the same. Yes. So divide both of them by 10 means cancel the zeros, right? So now I got 15 over 2, which is 7.5 or 7.50. And that is exactly the same answer that I got earlier when I did rise over run. Now remember that I can put a denominator of 1, which basically means $7.50 for 1 hour. Okay? So he earns, we're going to write down a complete sentence. He earns $7.50 in 1 hour, which means per hour. Okay? So what's my answer for this one? Letter A.